That's what. Do you subscribe to any of the other online influencers' medical advice, like the Liver King? I don't know if you watched him. He was real big for a while with his raw diet, and I think maybe he also preached exposing his butthole to the sun's rays. I think he thought you need to get butthole UV radiation
You're
exposure to
thinking
your
of Hunter
asshole.
Biden.
Oh, that's Hunter Biden. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
No, he did have something about like you should be naked in the sun. And of all the things he said, there's no way it's bad to be naked in the sun. That probably feels great.
But your asshole specifically, your perineum and booty.
Oh well,
booty hole?
like how are you supposed to enjoy the sun? Like pointing your ass at the sky.
He's like downward facing dog, essentially. Like you're offering your butthole to the sun.
Oh, I thought it was more just kind of enjoying nature.
No, you chant raw. Take my hole.
What was that guy's fucking retarded website we made fun of? Didn't we make fun of that guy's website? Like all his tips, where it was like the 5th principle, ferocity. Enter every engagement like a lion pack. You are the alpha.
I don't remember that.
And it's like you're 5'4".
A lot of times when I go to these things, 80% of it makes sense to me. Like I feel like it's mostly right, and it doesn't matter who. Like I don't mean to lump all these people together, but it could be just pearly things. Andrew Tate, Liver King, Jordan Peterson. You look at what they're telling you, and there's only a few parts of it that are objectionable.
Yeah.
It's because most of it, I haven't watched many of any of those people, but the stuff I've seen that like everyone agrees with seems to be like the Jordan Peterson one of like, you should clean your room and be responsible for your life. It's like, yeah, that's the most basic of basic bitch advice I can imagine. Take responsibility for yourself
it is pretty
and
basic,
be ambitious.
But most Americans these days, they kind of need that. Like I know people here locally, they're 25, they still live with their mom and dad. And the mom and dad still makes them breakfast and wake them up to go to work.
That sounds dope.
I was about to say, I like that. I like that in Italy, that's a common thing. And I think that can be, like
nothing wrong with living with your family.
Yeah, I really don't think so.
Really? So there's nothing wrong living with your family, but if your mom's still taking care of you, waking you up to go to work, cleaning your bedroom for you, doing your laundry for you.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good mom, but she's making you fucking a lazy prick that can't handle.
I mean, my mom stopped doing that shit for me when I was a child, but I'm just saying, if I can imagine if you were like 25-year-old you who's hustling hard, you're not just laying in bed all day at mom's house. You working your 2 or 3 jobs, and you're online doing this and that. You're really going at it, putting money away or investing, whatever you want to do. And your mom's making your bed and hooking you up with breakfast. That's just a loving mom who's
but those kids here, adults here, they don't do that. They don't make money. They smoke weed, they go drink, and then they just play games and fuck.
John, I have a question for you because I want to see if you line up with me.
I don't know about all this.
Do you share these same feelings with girls? Like if there's a 25-year-old woman and she's living at home, do you look at her the same way you do a dude?
So I do not look at them as the same way as a dude. No.
Me too. Tell me more. Why? Why is it okay for girls to stay home and not boys?
Well, I guess it depends on which culture we're talking about. We're talking about the U.S. culture. We're talking about for example, the Middle East.
I was thinking of U.S., but I'm open to hear what you have to say.
Okay. I think the reason why it's a lot more acceptable for girls to do that here in the U.S. is because usually, like for example, growing up as a kid, most kids, like the girls, they get babied usually by their parents. Like that's just a thing. They usually get taken care of. Like I've met so many families where the boy has to do all of his things. He has to become successful himself. From what I've seen, I could be wrong. There could be other families that do it differently. Versus the daughter, she would get those college paid for. She would get this paid for. They would do this for her. I don't know if that's true everywhere, but from here locally, that's what I have seen. Is kind of like they see girls are more innocent and they need to be taken care of more. And I believe like in the Middle East, for example, or like Northern Africa, it's mostly a lot of it is Islamic people though. And usually, for example, the daughter, she would stay home with her parents until there's a suitor who marries her. So, usually, but the only difference is like usually the daughter would do a lot more to take care of the parents. Versus here, it's kind of the opposite way around. The parents usually kind of take care of the daughter. And at least from what I've seen, I think it's like a cultural norm because, for example, like as a kid growing up, if you're a dude, someone punched you and you start crying, you'd be like, don't be a fucking pussy. You know, people tell you to shut the fuck up. Versus a girl, if a girl gets hit, if you watch these videos online, if one chick gets hit, the whole room of dudes turn around. If it's a guy getting his ass beat, no one gives a fuck. He can defend himself.
That's true.
You know? So I think it's just like a cultural norm at that point. People see females are more fragile and we have to take care of them more and provide for them. I think that's how it's seen. Me personally, like if I saw a female, you know, getting attacked, I'd probably step in a lot more likely versus a guy. If I see a guy physically fit, I'll probably want to do it. If it's a guy that was disabled or someone who's a lot younger or maybe small, I might step in then. Because then at that point,
do not step into street fights ever.
No. Did you hear him? I like what he said here. He said, if it's anybody that he might have to tussle with, I'm out. I'm walking away. I'm keeping myself safe. But if it's a kid or an old man or a cripple, I'm stepping in. I'm white knighting the shit out of the
mouthy
situation.
quadriplegic.
Yeah. You fucking
him up.
dumping him out of his wheelchair and kicking him in the ass.
I don't think that's what he said. I think
That's
he was
exactly
saying
what he said.
I think he was saying if the victim is someone in need who's small or old or disabled, then he's more inclined to jump in. If the victim is an able-bodied guy, he can handle it. You know, fuck it. You should have been even more able-bodied.
Dang, I thought we were on the same page because everything I said is what I
No, what you need to do is just look down and go away. if there's people fighting in public, assume they're crazy and go away.
Really? That's not who I aspire to be.
That's kind of like a coward thing to do, though.
It's a smart thing to do. Have you seen these retards that jump into fights on the subway and then they have their lives ruined? No,
their faces slashed with a razor blade or something crazy.
I'm going to jump into a public fight because the world is not Hollywood. This is not a movie.
And a lot of the time,
do you not carry on you?
And a lot of the time, she's going to leave with him being.
No. I got my Glock right next to me. I keep my laptop, my Glock, and my passport.
What Glock is it? Which Glock is it?
Glock 17.
So that's a full-size 9, am I right?
The big boy, yeah.
Yeah.